Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, via Zoom is...
Sesame and Carta.
Sesame and Carta. Well, Sesame, I want to tell you a story. A story about how I met your father.
Okay.
Okay, so there was one day I was hanging out with you and we went over to your house and you're like, hey, Mike, this is my dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, hi, Mr. Encarta. And, is his last name Encarta as well? Or just yours?
It's just mine, yeah.
Oh, okay, so.
I changed it, so.
So, today on the show, we're talking about the new Hulu television series, How I Met Your Father. The sequel series to the popular How I Met Your Mother series.
Yeah. And by sequel, it's actually a sequel, not a sequel name only type of thing.
Yeah, there is a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you've watched at least the first episode or so of this if you're listening to this. We're not going to go real in depth, I think, on each episode, but we'll talk about each episode a little bit here. Give a little brief synopsis. First off, Matt, what's your overall reaction to the show first?
I think overall, I'd give it a B-. Each episode seems to grow a little bit, more than the last one, but so far, the first three episodes, I'm not, entirely impressed by it yet. There's moments, but some of it feels sort of forced to me a little bit, like the humor, the jokes, the acting. Okay, so I was thinking the other day of how to explain this, because sometimes it takes me a little while to formulate my thoughts. So when I was watching How I Met Your Mother, it felt like I was watching characters on the show, who lived in that universe. Whereas with the new show, sometimes I feel like they know they're actors on the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
It does make sense. I mean, my main thing here is that I think the cast is starting to gel together. The problem is it's hard to beat the pilot for How I Met Your Mother, which is, in my opinion, one of the best pilots of a sitcom ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was an automatic chemistry between those five actors. It just seemed like, especially the four that already knew each other before the character of Robin came into the situation, you believed that they had been friends for years.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this show, even though a lot of the people don't know each other first off, which is a little bit of a different thing, even the characters who are supposed to have been old friends for years, like the main character and her best friend, and there's two guys in there that are roommates and best friends, I feel like they're all in their own little show.
Mm-hmm.
They don't gel yet. They're starting to as the show goes on, I think, but especially the first episode, I just don't really. They're characters in a sitcom. They're not real people.
Yeah, and that's the first episode. I mean, I almost turned it off within the first 7 minutes, just because the acting was so awkward. Especially with Sophie was in the Uber and talking about her phone need charge. She's like, my phone is feed me, mama, and I'm like, oh my god, why did they let that go in?
They're trying to make her quirky.
Yeah,
and
but
it's not quite working. I mean, it does sometimes, but other times it's over the top. Okay, so first off, little background on the show. We had already covered How I Met Your Dad, the first failed attempt at a sequel series to this show, to How I Met Your Mother. I mean, which I actually liked that pilot better than this pilot.
Yeah, me too.
But, not that I disliked this pilot, I just liked that one better. I think it was well written. It was just a little... There's something in the editing and stuff that just doesn't feel quite right. The timing is off, comedy-wise. So the show premiered on January 18th of this year on Hulu. And it was created by Isaac Aptaker and Elizabeth Berger, who are two of the creators of This Is Us and Love, Victor, and some other more dramatic television series. Also, two of the producers are the original creators of How I Met Your Mother, Carter Bays and Craig Thomas. They also helped kind of flesh out the show a little bit, I guess. We've got our cast of characters here. Our main star is Hilary Duff, who people know from, what was that, Lizzie McGuire or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what she was on. One of those Disney Channel shows. I'm pretty sure it was that one. She plays a character named Sophie, who is kind of like our gender-swapped Ted Mosby, our titular mother in this show, or not, our mother in this show who's trying to find the titular father. We have, she's like a hopeless romantic. She's also a photographer. She's looking for her soulmate, though she believes in true love, she is also unaware of her biological father due to her mother having dated a bunch of random men. So she had kind of a fucked up childhood. But yet still believes in love.
Unstable.
Yeah.
Dad, we find out a little bit more about that in episode 3.
We have Christopher Lowell as Jesse. Christopher Lowell, people may know from Veronica Mars, and he was most recently in Glow. Yeah,
Glow. Great show.
He was also in, what was that movie?
Well, I saw it recently. He was in he was in something recently too. Besides this, I can't remember what, but okay, cool.
He was in Promising Young Woman recently, which was an amazing movie in my opinion. He's been in a lot of other things. But yeah, I loved him in Glow. I loved everybody in that show though. So
yep, should have got a 4th season, but hey.
But yeah, fucking COVID. They were already starting to film.
Yeah, but I don't think COVID was the real reason why they canned it, because,
What do you think, why?
Well, if they really wanted,
well,
they could push back a show. They don't have to cancel it, you know.
The problem that happened was the contracts ran out for the actors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like other people, they've moved on to other things. Such as Christopher Lowell moving on to this. They could probably bring him back. I think they need to bring him back for a movie to tie things up. That's just me.
Yeah.
But, yeah. They already shot, I guess, parts of, a few episodes already, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways. That'll probably never see the light of day. Anyways, so we've got, him. He plays Jesse, who's an aspiring musician who works as an Uber driver, and he also teaches music lessons at the local grade school or something. He's kind of our, I don't know, almost like our Robin character in a way, but not really. we've got the character of Valentina, played by Francia Reza, who is an impulsive assistant stylist who is also Sophie's best friend and roommate, and she's the love interest of the character of Charlie, who we'll get to soon. We've got Suraj Sharma as Sid, who is Jesse's best friend and roommate, who also owns the bar that they hang out in the show, which is not McLaren's from the original show, but is called Pemberton's. He's engaged to a woman named Hannah, who's a doctor that lives on the other side of the country in Los Angeles. We have Tom Ainsley as Charlie. He's a British aristocrat who moves in with Sophie and Valentina after meeting Valentina at a London fashion week. Then we've got Tien Tran, who is Ellen. She is Jesse's adoptive sister who moves to New York after a divorce from her wife in Iowa. And then finally we have Kim Cattrall as future Sophie in the year 2050, who is telling the story to her son on like a Zoom call.
Because we still have Zoom in 2050.
Or something. She's talking on the TV to her son. My whole thing is like, dude, just hang up the fucking phone. You don't have to listen to your mom talk about all this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different like in the original where Ted had the kids kind of held captive in the house.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and like they're like teenagers, got them tied up, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, I'll give you some pizza bites to hold you over, but you gotta listen to the story."
This is like a kid away in college who,
yeah,
you know,
like, dude, you could just hang up, like, you know, but maybe he's too nice to do that or whatever. Yeah. But
and probably my least favorite part. I like Kim Cattrall as an actress, but she's my least favorite part of the whole show.
Well, I was thinking the same thing because. It's not because of her, it's that she acts so much differently than the character in the show. That's what gets me about shows like that, where, like, for example, Young Sheldon. Young Sheldon is actually better than The Big Bang Theory, just objectively as a show. It's just better. It's got better acting, better emotion, better plot, whatever. But the character of Young Sheldon, his personality is completely worlds apart from the older Sheldon. So at some point, they're going to have to explain how and when this personality shift happened, because it doesn't feel like it's the same person. It really doesn't.
Yeah. I haven't seen enough of it to know, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I've only seen it on TV and here and there, but like I've seen enough to know how he acts, and it's just not anywhere close to...
I think that, even though it is a little different, is at least a little closer than what this is. But
yeah. So, yeah, that was my issue, too, where I'm like, okay, well, she acts nothing like Hilary Duff, so...
Yeah, so we do have... And I understand why they're doing it, why they have her on camera and not the kid. And that'll be explained as we talk about the pilot.
Okay.
So we also have, in the pilot, we do have another character named Ian, who is a Tinder date for Sophie, who's a marine biologist who has to move to Australia, played by Daniel Augustin. So, okay, in the pilot, we start out with Sophie talking to her adult Sophie, future Sophie, I should say, talking to her kid about, you know, stuff you probably shouldn't tell your kids about.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, at one point she's just like, he's like, you're drinking wine, and she's just like, just enough to tell you the sexy bits.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I'm like, yeah, don't use the term sexy bits to your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sorry, but even the original show, I never want to sit down and listen to either one of my parents tell me about all the guys or girls they fucked before they met my mom or dad.
No, it's like, what the hell? You know? And she didn't even have any wine to drink at that point either. So it's like, you're not even drunk yet or tipsy.
So, anyways, we jump back after that to 2022. And, so Sophie's been on numerous failed Tinder dates. 87 or so to be exact. And, she believes she's finally found the one, who is this Ian guy. She gets in an Uber, and the driver is Jesse, and his friend Sid is there with him. So we meet these two other characters. Sid's about to go propose to his girlfriend. He's telling her that he's taking her to see Beyonce, but he's really taking her back to the bar where a bunch of friends are waiting, and then he's going to ask her to marry him right in front of all the friends and not take her to see Beyonce. Because, you must not know about me. You must not know about me.
You must not. You must. Wasn't that the one I was driving my car to? Or was that a different song? Okay.
You must not know about me.
I had like a huge beard at that point too. Like really, like almost like 4 inches down.
Yes.
Like chin. And I'm like,
I like your singing of that song better than Beyonce.
What? No. How is that even possible?
I don't know. I know now all the beehive is going to come after me, and
well, rightfully so. And plus, too, why couldn't he have just bought Beyonce tickets as well? So that if that was his plan, why not just also get the tickets? You know what I mean?
Because they point out rightly, everybody points out, isn't she going to think that she's going to see Beyonce? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
See, this is like when we talked in the past when we've had episodes about surprise parties. This is the same kind of thing. This is like a surprise party.
Yeah.
I don't like surprises. Especially when you're flat out lying to somebody about where you're taking them or what you're doing.
Well, I like surprise. I mean, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
As long as I also get to do the thing that was promised to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with like we're just gonna make a quick stop at Ahmed's restaurant. I'm not sure why I thought of Ahmed's restaurant. Whatever.
Yeah, but we're just gonna stop at the restaurant here, and then we're gonna go see Beyonce. No.
It's like, okay, if the party's at Ahmed's, awesome. I like their French fries, really good fries.
They're closed, by the way.
Oh, they closed down? Oh, that's right, they did. That was such a good place. I knew the kids. Well, I knew the kid in grade school, and then his grandfather's the one that owned the restaurant. And then we used to go there sometimes when I was a kid.
But anyways, folks, that was a local restaurant that's no longer with us.
Oh, yes, the local restaurant called Ahmed's. Great. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it closed down, but it was like a steakhouse kind of. Yeah. But like affordable. It wasn't like a rich steakhouse. It was more of like a common man, middle class man steakhouse, whatever. And then, but he also used to go to all of our baseball games when I was a kid, like Little League, and he used to always go behind the fence and give tips to the batters. The umpire would always tell him to leave because he was always like telling only our team have a better strategy, but not the other team. So they're like, you're giving them a fair advantage or unfair advantage. And he was a really nice guy. Anyway, but yeah, if they took me to that restaurant, no longer exists anymore, and had the party there, be fine. All right, but if you said we're also going to see the Mudhens, I still want to go see the Mudhens. So yeah,
I just want to see Beyonce. Anyway, so
yeah.
I could never afford to see Beyonce though.
Yeah, those tickets are probably like $400 a pop or whatever.
That's the other thing too. I mean, he spent all the money probably on the ring, and then
yeah. I don't think the bar is that lucrative of a establishment.
So anyways, Sophie goes to her date after meeting Sid and Jesse in the Uber. They drop her off at a bar to meet Ian. He's sitting there and they have like a great date, and then at the end he says that he's moving to Australia and just wanted to meet her before he goes. That's another thing. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I know. He went about that the wrong way.
Yeah. No Beyonce there either. And,
No.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of sea creatures in Australia, but...
Yes.
So...
We get back to Sophie's apartment with her roommate, and a naked guy walks in named Charlie with a British accent. He's moved across the world and given up his fortune to be with his new love, Valentina. Anyways, she decides that she wants to give Ian another shot and meet him at the airport and stuff like that. But she realizes when she goes to try to call him that she somehow swapped phones in the Uber with Sid. So she has Sid's phone now. So they go to the bar that Sid owns. And where he's there to, surprise his soon-to-be fiancé. They all have to hide because he hasn't arrived yet for the surprise. While there, they meet Ellen, which actually has the funniest line in the whole episode. Charlie and Valentina are behind the bar, and Ellen kind of comes out of this cupboard or something. And she says hi to them and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm, and she's Asian, by the way, and Jesse's white. And, she says to them, she's like, I'm Jesse's sister, adopted, obviously. And then Charlie looks at her and responds I don't know who Jesse is.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not sure, obvious, because I have no idea who Jesse is.
Yes. Yeah, that made me laugh more than anything else in the episode. So that was pretty funny. Charlie, he kind of reminds me of sort of the Barney character, just from being rich, but not really. But he's stupid.
He's stupid, yeah. And
or I don't know if I want to call him stupid. He's more naive than stupid.
He's naive, and plus too, we don't have an exact
no
version.
There isn't a one for one for anybody really, because I think Jesse has a lot of Ted Mosby qualities and also a lot of Marshall qualities, and so does Sid. So it's
and also Robin qualities as well.
Yeah.
So it's
So anyways, they're all in there. We find out that that Jesse is a guy named Mr. Proposal Fail on. He has a video that went viral on YouTube or something, and where he proposed to his girlfriend, and she said no, and it went viral. Things like that do.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't agree with public proposals.
Yeah.
I think they put a lot of pressure onto the... I mean, whether it's the woman... I mean, it's usually a guy doing it to a woman, but sometimes the woman do it to a man. But it's just a lot of pressure on the person to say yes. And if they genuinely don't want to do it, then, they feel awkward and guilty, to basically just embarrass, this person in front of, dozens or hundreds of people. I don't agree with it.
It's I used to work out at a baseball stadium, and there were a few times over the years where people would propose to their girlfriend at the baseball game. And luckily the stadium I worked at the time didn't have one of these jumbotrons or anything. Like the new one did. And I've actually been to games there too where that's happened. And it's just you get up on that jumbotron or whatever and you're asking the girl to marry you, and then she's like, no. Then you have all the fans of this baseball team witnessing it right there.
Yeah, not a
so in this situation he was at a concert, and she went out, and so Jesse's girlfriend left him and went off to Europe to record an album. And she was played by Leighton Meester, who is actually a well-known actress. So I'm expecting to see her again on the show.
Okay.
So
yeah, maybe she'll come back and like, you know, I'm thinking ahead, but what I'm thinking ahead is, you know, maybe she'll come back later on, but at that point, Jesse might already be going out with someone else, maybe Sophie, maybe someone else. Then
or
she's
he's about
to.
Back. What I'm thinking is he's about to ask, like things are starting to heat up between him and Sophie, and then she shows up, and yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, you know, ahead.
Yeah, because you got to have conflict.
Yep.
I'm always one of those guys that just wants people to be happy.
Yeah.
So I'm which I don't understand why I grew up watching soap operas and that never happened. Like a couple would be together for a little while and then have an affair or something, and then you know, so
betrayal and yeah.
But anyways, Sophie talks to Jesse and is telling him that she has a plan to walk on Brooklyn Bridge with her soulmate someday. So at the then they end up going to the airport after she realizes that a picture that Ian shared on social media or shared to her or something has his ticket information. So they all get in the car. Okay, here's the thing. All right. This is like a 4-door car.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed this.
Okay. That Jesse drives. And he takes all these people to the airport because after the proposal, Sid's fiance has to go back to Los Angeles. Okay, so you have Sid's fiance, you have Sid,
mm-hmm.
You have Jesse.
Yeah.
You also have Charlie, Valentina, Sophie, and Ellen.
So 7 people.
That's 7 people
in a 5 car.
In like a Nissan. You know, I'm just saying. It's like what the.
It could comfortably sit 4, technically sit 5.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have 2 people crawling over each other.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, did they throw like Charlie in the trunk? I mean, what did they do?
Maybe throwing Charlie in the trunk. That's a good band name.
So
all right,
yeah.
Throwing Charlie in the trunk is opening up for Jeff Garland's at Butt Crack
and Gator Smoke.
And Gator Smoke. and Yancey and the Fat Guy. It's a really good lineup tonight. I don't know.
Yes.
This
is part of that, like, what is that, When We Were Young tour or something? No, anyway, so...
yeah, the When We Were Young, Avril Lavigne's... I actually wanted to see Avril Lavigne, so that would be cool with that. But yeah, I was always a big Veen fan back in the day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I always remember that about you. I used to call you a good old Veenie.
Yep. That's what our hardcore fans call each other, Veenies.
Sometimes I call you a Wiener, but like there's my friend Matt, the Wiener Schnitzel, and
well,
so anyways, they all end up at the airport somehow in this magical clown car of theirs that has a bunch of people in it, and they're there. Sophie goes up to Ian and professes her love for him. Not really. She doesn't do a Ted Mosby and say I love you or anything. But that she wants to make things work. And, he's like, yeah, it's not going to work.
yeah.
Basically, it's like, yeah, we're going to be, thousands of miles away. We're not going to have good, reception where I am and blah, blah, blah. So, yep. It's kind of like, yeah, it was cool to meet you and all, but I got to go Africa. I mean, not Africa. I mean Australia. So, yep.
Yeah, gotta do one
of those places that begins with an A. And
gotta do look after my sea creatures and whatnot.
Yeah. So
It was the right thing to do, though, because
Yeah, it was. I mean, you don't want to try to start off with a long distance relationship. I've done that. It's not fun. Anyway, so
let's drag her around because she's such like a romantic and stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, we do find out later on he does kind of do a not a terrible thing, but a kind of. We'll find it. We'll explain later.
So anyways, this whole newly formed gang of friends, she says, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I don't want to wait." And then they go and they, walk on the Brooklyn Bridge together. And then afterwards, and this is where Jesse ends up finding out too that Sophie is from a broken marriage and blah blah blah. Not she didn't have like a good example of like a, happy loving parents.
Right.
So they decide to go back and have some drinks at Jesse and Sid's place, which they open up the door and they reveal that they found it on an old Wesleyan Wesleyan message board that had belonged to this old couple, which is Marshall and Lily. Turns out it's the apartment that Ted and Marshall and Lily and Robin all lived in during the original series. And they even got the swords.
Yeah, the swords are still up there. So,
well, the swords are on a different wall than they used to be, but
okay,
they were never above the fireplace in the old show. But here's an interesting fact too about this, though. I was reading an article because they updated the set. They painted things and stuff like that, but that is the actual set from How I Met Your Mother. It's not a recreation.
Oh wow!
Because it was in storage. And so they just pulled it out of storage and redecorated it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So instead of having to try to rebuild it, they already had it. Because on other reboots or sequels like Fuller House, they had to rebuild the whole set. The blueprints were lost from the original show. So they had to kind of guess things. And kind of make it look similar, but it wasn't really exact. So, anyways, do you want to take a quick break here, Matt, and then we'll talk about the next 2 episodes really quickly?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
Alright, and we are back. I forgot to mention the last episode was directed by Pamela Fryman, who's also one of the producers of the show, and she directed 85% of the episodes of How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She also directed the second episode, which is called FOMO. In this one, I'm going to go through this one pretty fast, because, we've got this whole thing where Valentina's getting kind of smothered by Charlie. She decides that, hey, let's invite those guys we met that other night to hang out with him so maybe he can create some guy friends. So it's like a setup, as she says. Mm. They go to this club called FOMO. One of the funniest parts, actually, though, is it's like, what's FOMO? And she's like, fear of missing out. And it's like, but how do we go to there? Yeah. So, turns out this crazy, club. Anyways, Jesse ends up thinking that it's a setup for him and Sophie, which it is not. Anyways, they're at this club. They end up Sophie ends up getting kicked out because she took a picture, because Ian has been sending her pictures of people that look like Jason Momoa. And she found the perfect Momoa to send back, which was a FOMO Momoa.
A FOMO
Momoa.
Yeah,
FOMO
that was
Momoa.
like,
yeah,
FOMO Momoa. Wow, that's a hard
FOMO Momoa. Yeah,
FOMO Momoa. Yeah,
yeah,
because that was like kind of like their cutesy little thing to do together.
yeah.
And Valentina pointed out correctly, in my view, that he doesn't have the right to do that anymore because he officially broke off the relationship, so he can't be sending out these little breadcrumbs. Or she didn't use
that's leading her on, and it's
He said he's trying to have his cake and eat it too,
Yeah,
which I agree with. I think
I do too. I mean, if you're going to cut things off, cut them off completely. Because I've been in situations like that where, I mean, I am friends with some women I've dated in the past. I mean, one of my best friends is still somebody I kind of saw for a little bit. So, but it's, I've been in situations in the past where somebody stays friends with me after we break up or becomes friends with me again after we break up, and just basically it kind of led me on for a while, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then basically what you end up doing is if you have that going on, you put your life on hold for that person.
Yeah.
And whether it's a long distance thing here with like Ian or what happened with me, but it's just basically like then you basically don't open your heart to other people. So it's not fair. Yeah. Like you're saying. So anyways, they get she gets kicked out because she took a picture in the place because there's no photography allowed in there. And so anyways, basically what happened was that ruined, Jesse's chances with Sophie in a way that night. Jesse later comes to know that the invitation was not for him, but for Charlie's sake. And, Charlie's trying to be friends with them. At one point, he's trying to be cool, and he's like, oh, I don't like cake, just give me some bread.
I just like to rip it up with my raw, callous hands. Yes. Just eat. They're like, yeah, bread is cool.
Bread's cool.
Oh god,
that was kind of funny. Because what he didn't want to put his, or Valentina didn't let him put cufflinks on either, which comes into play later.
Oh yeah, because he had like ruby encrusted or something like cufflinks, like
So he wanted to wear those, but then we also started out the episode with Sid he's painting the upper wall of the bar a like tight white or something, and anyways, so we've got everybody ends up back at the bar. Charlie bonds with the guys because Valentina basically breaks up with him because he's not, being cool about living in New York, and how he basically talks about how crappy New York is. She's like got this weird thing where she's like defensive of a fucking city.
Yeah, that was a weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess some people like their town a lot, but it was like a weird like nationalist kind of like, well, if you don't like it, you get out type of thing. I'm like, okay, it's a city, like.
So anyways, we end up. There's a short moment where Jesse and Sophie talk and they agree to be friends. She had talked earlier in the episode about her comfort song being "Drops of Jupiter" by Train.
Mm-hmm.
And that turns out that that's actually Jesse's comfort song too. He was trying to play it on the jukebox in the bar. We also have this situation where he says that that in his breakup, his girlfriend even got his cat Not their cat.
Mhm.
His cat.
Mhm.
The one he named Girl.
Mhm.
Because he wanted to call it Jesse's Girl.
Mhm.
And now all he wants is Jesse's Girl. Anyway, so,
Yeah.
now he just wishes he had Jesse's Girl. So, yeah, he doesn't even
Yep.
have a cat to comfort him anymore.
Nope.
Poor guy. Okay, so that was basically that episode. The third episode that has aired, there's probably going to be another one that'll air before this airs to the public. So, if, I'm not going to cover every episode of the show. I just wanted to go through the 3 that were out, give our reaction to it. Maybe later on someday we'll revisit this show, but this is just basically our reaction to the release of it, because we had covered the How I Met Your Dad in the past, and I kind of wanted to have a follow-up to that. So, the last episode we got is one called The Fixer, which was directed by Kimberly McCullough, who, by the way, Kimberly McCullough was my first crush of anybody ever in my life. She played Robin Scorpio on General Hospital. Yep. And now she's a TV director, so...
Cool.
Yep. So, yeah, there's that. Written by Dan Levy. Or Levy. Dan Levy, because not Levy, because Levy is the guy that was on Schitt's Creek. Levy is this guy. There's 2 Dans. There's a Dan Levy and a Dan Levy. So
Wait, you're telling me that there's different people with the same spellings of names?
yes, but pronounced differently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this
So
is a
you're
former
telling me
stand-up
that-
comic and writer.
So you tell me that there's also a Sesame Encarta, not Encarta, out there?
No.
No, okay.
Maybe,
I bet
maybe
if-
in the
if-
multiverse.
Maybe in like the multiverse, like if Doctor Strange fucked things up or whatever. But like, I'm willing to bet if I went on Google right now and typed in the phrase Sesame Encarta, nothing would come up. I think it's a phrase. Like of all the word combinations in the world, I think only I have come up with this. I'm pretty sure of it.
Could be. It's
Could
almost
be.
as good as the random poem name I came up with one time by just opening up a dictionary and pointing at random words, and I came up with gesticulated nerve.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the name of a short film I did, not a poem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so the this episode here, we got Jesse is in need of a new profile pic for his online dating profile. See, they're really heavy on this whole modern shit, which I understand. You got to talk about it, but it's like, I don't know. Anyway, so because they say that he can, something about dealing with I think Pornhub and Grubhub or something. Yeah. So
Well, the thing is too,
yeah,
even that stuff though is not really that new.
No.
With like Tinder and stuff, Tinder's been around for 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
You think they would, if they really wanted to do the modern, they would have like come up with like a newfangled app or whatever, but like
yeah.
Tinder really has been out for
See-
like 7 years.
See, the other thing is like on this episode too, they talk heavily about HelloFresh. Which,
They do?
by the way, HelloFresh, if you'd like to sponsor our show, I'd be more than happy to let you.
Wait, they talked about. Oh, it's right. They did a commercial
And then during the show, it was brought to you by HelloFresh, but they talked about it in the episode too.
and they also talked about the episode in the commercial.
Yeah,
That's total like market. I don't even know what the word is.
synergy.
Synergy. There you go. Yeah.
But it was like basically just totally like, product integration or something. Anyway, so but anyways, Jesse needs a new profile pic for Tinder, or whatever he's getting on. So Sophie says that she's going to take his picture. She decides that she's going to come by his work and his lunch break to take some photos. Meanwhile, the on and off again relationship between Valentina and Charlie has resulted in Charlie searching for his own apartment so Valentina can feel independent from him. They decided to still date, but, they needed some space, So, and oh yeah, by the way, I forgot in the first episode, the big reveal. when we talked about the first episode, she said that she met the dad that night.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be any of these guys.
I really hope it's not Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I really hope that it doesn't.
I know. So it could be Jesse, it could be Sid, it could be Charlie, it could be Ian.
Mm.
Those are the four we know for sure now. But so Sophie comes by later on to take the photos. But anyways, okay, so we've got Charlie decides that he wants to search for an apartment. First he asked Ellen to be his roommate because she was looking for a place too, but she says that she would rather live alone, but then she finds some random dude to be her roommate.
From Craigslist.
Yes.
Which, again, that's kind of weird, too, because 2022 Craigslist...
Yeah.
Craigslist was so, like, 2009, 2010.
Well, Craigslist is so, like, 2001.
Right, so it's, like, it's weird that they're, like, unless Craigslist is, like, had some new, like, retro boom or something like that, you know?
I don't know. Or maybe that's the only place she could find anybody.
Yeah, maybe.
So, while this is going on, Sid ends up getting a special delivery in the mail that he thinks at first is his HelloFresh to have with Hannah. Because they've been having meals together over, like, Zoom or something. Mm-hmm. And, they, decide to, she decided to spice things up and sent him a sex toy. Like a mechanical thing that she can control from where she is that goes on Sid's ding-dong. And,
which he calls Lil Sid.
Yeah, when he calls Little Sid or whatever, yeah.
He calls.
Yeah. So, anyways,
because Valentina had a funny... He's like, your name for your penis has the word Lil in it. He's like, yeah, it's because it's ironic or whatever. Like,
see, I have a theory. I don't think Sid and Hannah are going to last.
Yeah,
and
probably
I don't think
not.
Charlie and Valentina are going to last. Because honestly, the people with the best chemistry on the show are Valentina and Sid. So,
right, so we're going to have a Salentina going on.
Yes.
Or a vid, you know.
Because honestly, if I want to see any two people together on the show, the best chemistry in any of the scenes I've seen so far were between those two people.
Yeah. The Salentina of it all.
Yeah. And I mean, also, she's beautiful. So...
Well, of course, the TV show, they have to be
still,
all attractive.
She's beautiful. So, just in case she's listening, you know.
Oh, she totally is. Bro.
I just wanted to let Francia Reza know that I think she's beautiful. So,
because nobody's ever told her that before, you know.
Nope, never.
Yeah.
She's gonna, end up with some random dude who has a podcast in Ohio.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it's better than what is called negging, which is like what like these like what do they call like player people?
Oh, like those pickup artists and stuff.
Yeah, pickup like they'll teach guys to like intentionally like find like physical flaws to like seep into a conversation with the woman in order to like subtly like diminish their self-esteem. It's like it's such a fucked up thing. Yes. Like, I mean, it's one thing. Yeah, like don't like simp. Don't go like I worship at the feet of the woman. You know, don't get all like smarmy about that shit either. But don't like go around and be like, oh, like you got an interesting eyelash there.
And you know what I've always found interesting that people like guys will go online and get their advice from guys about how to pick up women. You know who you should probably be going to? Women.
And even then, you're still getting one person's opinion, as well,
And every situation's different, but I mean, but my main thing is that I think a woman's going to know more what a woman wants than some random guy.
It's random douchebag like
Yeah.
Monster Energy drink,
Some random guy named Kyle or Chad or something,
who watches Jordan Peterson videos 24 hours a
Yeah.
day or whatever. How to be a man, how to live a life. I'm like, okay, like the 12 rules of life or whatever the book's called. I'm like, okay, realize you can get all of those advice, or all of that advice from like any number of like self-help books that don't have like the weird like reactionary stuff that he has. Anyway,
I mean, you can get that from like, what is that, like
like Secret almost, or
or like there's that old book back in the day, like how to, like basically like how to something. It's basically like a business book where it's basically like teaching you how to succeed in not how to succeed in business like the musical, but sort of.
No, it's Dale Carnegie's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's what I'm thinking of.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. But he doesn't have any of this weird politics in it, though. He's just a regular dude,
Yeah. So anyways, I totally could not remember that name of that book. I actually have that book somewhere. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've never read it, but
I haven't either. I was at a Goodwill one day and it was sitting on the shelf and it was only like 50 cents, so I was like, I'll buy this.
I read the first few chapters. The only reason why I haven't read it is because it was written like in the 20s, right? So it has old timey tone to it, and some of it doesn't match anymore. You know what I mean? Like
no,
but it was pretty decent from what I read.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the show here. We've got Jesse now at the school, eating his lunch. Sophie's trying to take pictures of him. Some kids get involved, and then the vice principal comes out, played by Josh Peck from Drake and Josh fame. He's the good one of the two, not the one that sexually harassed people. Anyways,
he looked familiar. I had no idea it was from. I never really watched that show. He lost a lot of weight. He used to be really heavy set. He also recently starred in the Turner and Hooch TV series. Also, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Sophie was taking unsolicited pictures of children outside of a school.
Yeah.
So the vice principal was like, "Oh, we gotta put a stop to that." So
yeah, he's really kind of into Sophie. You can tell. And you got this whole former Nickelodeon star falling in love with a former Disney star on the show. Anyway, so
and plus she was in one episode of Community where she played a total B word.
Oh yeah,
that was a good episode.
I almost forgot about that. Anyways, so yeah,
Rowboat Cop, sink her.
Yeah. So anyways, we have the whole situation. We keep checking in a little bit here with Charlie and Ellen trying to get the apartment. Things aren't working out there. Charlie at one point is going to sell like some spoon or something he has around his neck or something.
A golden spoon around his neck.
Yeah. He's literally born with a golden spoon in his mouth or whatever. Anyway,
his mouth. He slept with it in his diamond crib.
Yes.
They don't put a golden spoon in a toddler's mouth.
No.
Choking hazard.
Yeah. So,
the way he says choking hazard is hilarious. Choking hazard. And everyone's just looking at him like, what?
So Sophie ends up taking Jesse to a bar later to try to help him, to be his wingman and help him find somebody,
Yeah.
And, he starts. What was the phrase that he said to the girl that she told him to? Something like "You're gonna like me" or something. Or
that's what Sophie. Yeah, that's what Sophie told him to say.
Yeah,
he says it in such a weird.
Yeah,
Like, I think you're gonna like me.
I think you're gonna like me.
Like,
That's it. Yeah. And then
like,
so he's flirting with this girl. He ends up offering to buy her a drink. He goes to the bar to get the drink, and Sophie overhears her texting a friend or something about the fact that she's getting hit on by Mr. Proposal Fail.
Yeah. So it was all just,
Yeah. All fucked up
joke,
and messes.
Well,
and
we find out actually she was still going to sleep with them, but but
yeah. And then and they say like later on, she didn't look like she'd be good at sex anyways, and then so it's like yes, she did. So but anyway, so that goes awry. She ends up giving him the photo later. Also, he sends her the number of Drew. That's the guy's name at the vice principal that Josh Peck's playing. Anyways, to go out with her, they make plans for dinner. Anyways, so then. But also, when we go back to Sid here. I forgot about his little story. Sid and Hannah are trying desperately to keep the romance going, and he can't get the thing to work. It starts playing a podcast and all this random shit, because it's got a speaker in it for some fucking reason. The sex toy does.
Well, that's to hear your partner talking to you, I guess.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I have no idea.
Yeah. But because it's connected to his phone, it ends up starting to randomly play The Daily or something, I think it's called. So, which is like a news podcast. So,
and he's talking about something about bacterial infections or something. Yeah,
he's like, now that's all I can think about. And so
like, whatever, dude.
Valentina, who had dated a Polish pilot at one point, got him some tickets, a ticket to go fly out to Los Angeles to see Hannah. So, to try to,
So, I might actually have a chance as Valentina because she said it's true what they say about the Polish. And most of my ancestry, about half, is Polish. I'd like to know what they say about the Polish because...
I do not know either.
I'd like to know if I fit into the category, Yeah,
maybe. Maybe you have a chance with a fictional character.
I might. Who knows? But I'm just saying, because I'm at least half Polish. Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll see. Have no Polish in me at all. So.
Well, that's good right now because you're recording a podcast. So it'd be weird if you have, a Polish in you right now. Yeah. That was a terrible joke. Sorry.
I know. Well, I have eaten like Polish kielbasa before. That was good. And so at that point, I did have Polish in me. But
Well.
So, that's how it works, right? And then that means that I was, if I did a DNA test right after eating the kielbasa. They don't make that with Polish people, do they?
No, it's sausage. It's like from an animal.
All right, just making sure I wasn't being a cannibal there. I'm just,
Yeah. Well, did you think it was people like Italian sausage? Polish sausage is Polish people.
German sausage is German people.
German chocolate cake. Oh, that's even worse.
No. You know what?
You thought that stuff was coconut? That little crunchy stuff? No, that was little chopped up bones. Okay, I don't know what's going on.
You know what happens when you mix a chocolate lab with a German Shepherd?
What?
You get a German chocolate.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's a really bad joke I made up years ago. So, anyways, back to their story here. So, she sends Sid Sid out to L.A. He gets there and they're all cool. And Sophie sets up a date with Drew. Jesse is thinking about getting back in the dating scene with a picture that Sophie took of him. And that's our episode.
And then when he also gives the contact info to the vice principal.
Yeah, and that's how she ends up setting up the date with him.
But we find out, though, that she met him the night.
That's the other thing. We find out that that's where he knew her from. he met her the night of Sid's proposal to Hannah, because he's old friends with Hannah. And so that's guy number 5 she met that night.
So we know of at least 5
possible guys that could be the father.
But also, too, it could also be just some rando she met that we didn't even see on screen yet either. Yeah. You know, so it could. Well, I know. I'm just saying, though, it could be someone off screen, because so far he's the first person who was off screen who's now on screen.
And like I said before, the main reason that they're showing Kim Cattrall and not the kid this time is because you don't know what nationality the kid is, you know?
Right, and plus, too,
because I mean, Sid is like Indian, and Ian is black, and then you got other, like other white guys and stuff. So, it could be.
I hope it's not Charlie's kid. I really hope not. Yeah. But, plus, I had another thing to mention about Jesse. You can edit this out if you think it's too weird. So, and I'm hoping that you might do, but it's like an impulsive thought that I have to get out there. It's probably shouldn't say it, but I was thinking it. So, okay, so Jesse's adoptive sister is Asian, and the first woman that he decides he wants to talk to is an Asian. I don't know if there's anything. I'm just saying, after years of I don't know. So you can edit that out if it seems too.
No, weird. It doesn't seem weird. It could be. I mean, because see, the thing is, it's like they always say you're attracted to your mother in a way. You know what I mean? There's like that,
or your dad, or whatever.
Yeah, your mom or your dad. There's that Freudian type of thing. I don't know. Maybe it works with siblings too, or something. I don't know. Who knows?
I had that thought, and I'm like, should I say this, or should I just leave it go?
No, it makes sense. It could be. But anyways, that's basically what happened in these episodes, Matt. Any final thoughts here? I was going to read the reviews, but the reviews are pretty mixed on this. And there's no really good reviews that I saw, that are fun to read, So a lot of people complaining about the laugh track being intrusive, but then I've also seen people that say the laugh track isn't loud enough. And then I see people that said they hate the laugh track altogether. And then I see people that find it refreshing. It's just,
I don't like laugh tracks unless they're timed correctly. So if you didn't have a laugh track in this show, there would just be these weird awkward silences. Like, have you ever seen clips on YouTube where they take away the laugh track
out of something like Big Bang Theory or something? Yeah,
it's so awkward because there's like this pause. Yeah,
and I mean the thing is, like, this show, like How I Met Your Mother was filmed in an interesting way. It wasn't filmed in front of a studio audience like Big Bang Theory or the other shows like that were, They filmed it, and then they played it for a studio audience after it was edited, and then recorded the laughter from that.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
This, however, they had to do canned laughter because of COVID.
Right, so it's like you have to choose.
Yeah, so it's fake laughs. So
and then that's got to be a headache for editing, to try to pick the right kind of laughter for each joke. Thinking about, just anticipating, how someone would laugh at that scenario, which is impossible to predict.
You know what's funny too? There was I listened to this episode of a podcast one time about the history of laughter on, laugh tracks and stuff. There were machines that created, that's why they call it a laugh track. It was a track that this guy would record different people laughing in actual live performances of sitcoms and other things. And then had a machine that you could use and either add laughter on top of an audience or add a laugh track to a show that didn't have a live audience, such as MASH or something. So the funny thing about it is the same laughter was used on all these different shows for decades.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of creepy to think about, but a lot of times the laughter you're hearing on TV shows are of dead people.
Right.
That's just weird. Sometimes people that had died before the actors that you're watching on TV had ever even been born.
Wow.
So that's just creepy.
That is just very, very creepy.
Yes. When you think about that. So yeah. It's like ghosts laughing at a show.
Wow.
Creepy. Yes. Dead Laughter. That's the name of my other new band.
Dead laughter. Wow.
So, any other final thoughts here? Do you think the show's... How long do you think the show will last, actually?
I mean, I don't know how...
It's gonna
like, how long are the seasons? I mean, like, how many
10
episodes are they...
10 episodes for this that they were picked up for so far, so...
See, I don't know, because, like, How I Met Your Mother... I mean, TV's changed, though, quite a bit.
Because, like, I mean, How I Met Your Mother was, like, 22 episodes or whatever a season, so it's like, you know...
But a lot of those were filler episodes.
Yeah.
TV doesn't really do that anymore, it seems like, so...
Especially streaming and cable.
So,
yeah.
Now you're getting, like, a more bang for your buck, I guess, so to speak, so, like, you might see less episodes, sure, but it's not like you're still getting like the same amount of like important content. It's just that it's like
you're getting a lot of times more quality and less quantity. You know?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, I think at least, I mean, hopefully if the show gets better, because now we have 7 episodes left. So
yeah.
Hopefully, if by that point maybe they'll. I'm thinking maybe 4 seasons tops.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm thinking so too. I don't think it's going to run anywhere near as long as Mother did, but it's hard to say. And I just hope if they decide to cancel it at any time, they let them have a final episode so we find out who the fucking father is.
Yeah, exactly. Not just bullshit of like, oh well, I'm just gonna have to guess.
Yeah. And I hope it's one of the guys we've already met. I don't want them to keep introducing people like they did with Josh Peck's character this last episode. Like, I don't want them to like, oh, and so this guy here, he was like the third guy from the left, standing behind the bar, at that party that night. You know, well, this is some random guy that was at the airport.
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
because doing that with How I Met Your Mother a little bit too, where it was like, okay, like
they did have a lot of interesting clues here and there on How I Met Your Mother, which people have talked about extensively online and stuff. But you know, my favorite one was in the first season. There's an episode called "Belly Full of Turkey," which is a Thanksgiving episode, and Ted is at the strip club at the end of the episode, and he bought a lap dance for a homeless guy. And this stripper comes up to him and introduces herself, and she said that her name is Tracy. And then he jokes to the kids, and he says, and that's how I met your mother. And then it turns out at the end, the mother's real first name is Tracy.
Oh, wow.
So, it was, you know.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it was kind of like they told you in the first season what the mother's name was.
Right.
In a way. But anyway, so I have nothing else to say. Do you, Matt?
Nope.
Okay, so thank you folks for listening. Let us know what you think of this show. Send me a message at mike@cullenpark.com. Check out our Facebook, our TikTok, our Instagram, our Twitter, our boop beeps, and our bop bops, and our doogie doogies. Those are all things, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the doogie doogies is something that Neil Patrick Harris started. And so anyways, no, but just find us on the social medias. Check out our Patreon. Check out all2real2.com for all the other information. And people, be safe out there. You know, don't do anything stupid. Here's something I'm going to say, because I know our show broadcasts on Spotify. Don't listen to Joe Rogan, who is owned by Spotify. And in my opinion, boycott that fucker. Anyway,
Yeah.
so, fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I stand behind Neil Young and not fucking Joe motherfucking Rogan. Okay.
Or I call him Joe Rogaine. You know, it's a dumb name, but
yes, but it is funny. I think he's another one of those people that is basically a Monster Energy drink come to life. And he's like some Monster Energy drink in a joint come to life. But the
yeah, or DMT or whatever.
DMT in a joint come to life. Yeah, so but anyways, wear a fucking mask, get vaccinated. Let's end this fucking thing. Okay?
Yeah, please. Can we just stop with thinking you know more than doctors and scientists? You don't have a degree. You didn't get educated for this. They truly know what is best for you. Yes. I know you might hate hearing that because you've grown up thinking that you're number one, you're an individual, blah, blah, blah. But no, there actually are experts in fields in this world, and they literally know more than we do. That's just a fact.
Trust science. And I believe fully in freedom of speech, but I also believe in truth. And facts are truth, not opinions.
So
yeah. That's my little high horse.
Me too.
My little high horse that I gave ivermectin to earlier. And
yeah. And I said you. I didn't mean every single person listening. I just meant in general.
The general you.
Yeah.
General you. And I was saluting General you. And so the like they do on How I Met Your Mother. So the anyways, wear a mask, wear a fucking condom. And, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.